Okay.
No. Before we start, I'd just like to say that in all the shooting videos that you'll see with the Chiappa M1-9 regarding its reliability test, so the one I posted just prior to this video and the ones that you'll see within this video, we used three types of ammunition of different grains to rule out any ammunition problems that are causing the malfunction. So we used American Eagle 147 grain full metal jacket truncated, so that's 147 grain FMJ with a flat nose. We used Blazer 115 grain full metal jacket, so just looks like the snap cap, same regular full metal jacket, nothing special, as well as Blazer 124 grain full metal jacket. Now, what we found was that regardless of ammunition grain, we were finding that the reliability still remained the same with the rifle. The problems were still there, regardless of grain or brand. However, I'd just like to say that we did not test any plus P ammo of any grain. We do not have plus P ammo, nor do I know if the Chiappa M1-9 is safe to use plus P ammo in. Alright, welcome. So, this video will be talking about the Chiappa M1-9, as you can see here, and in particular, its issues regarding reliability. Just before we get started, for all you safety people out there, the rifle is unloaded. There is no magazine in the rifle. It is 100% clear. Alright, so if you've never heard of this rifle, in essence it is, well, I shouldn't say rifle, it's actually a pistol caliber carbine. It's chambered in the 9x19 parabellum round. These are dummy rounds, just for demonstration purpose. Your standard 9mm, and it takes your standard Beretta 92 mags. The rifle does come with its own mags from the factory from Chiappa, and they're quite good mags. I just find the springs are a little bit stiffer compared to a Mechgar mag for a M9 92FS or your Gearsan. Other than that, but yes, in essence, this is basically a clone of the venerable M1 carbine that I'm sure all of you guys are very familiar with. However, the big defining difference that I believe is the cause for the reliability problems of this pistol caliber carbine when compared to the original or even reproduction M1 carbines is that it functions completely different. The original M1 carbine uses a short stroke gas piston with a rotating bolt. The rotating bolt, much like your M1 Garand, M14, Mini 14 series of rifles, because they're all generally the same family. The Chiappa, on the other hand, is quite simple. It is simply recoil-operated blowback. Now, for those of you who do not know, recoil-operated blowback means that there's no gas port that's drilled into the top of the barrel, and there's no gas piston in this rifle at all. Basically, how the action is cycled back after each round, it is simply the force of the recoil from the cartridge being shot that pushes the action back, ejects the casing, and then loads the new round. That itself is a very unreliable means of feeding when compared to a short stroke gas piston. The Chiappa also does not have the rotating bolt, as you can see here, that you'd find on a normal M1 carbine or Mini 14 series rifle. Here I can actually grab a Mini 30 for you guys to see. Alright, so side by side now we have the Chiappa M1-9 on the bottom and the Ruger Mini 30 on top. Now, like I said, the Chiappa, it's simply recoil operated blowback. There's no gas piston here, nor is there a rotating bolt, which to my knowledge there's no form of locking lugs at all in this rifle, or pistol caliber carbine rather. It is simply the weight of the bolt carrier that keeps the round in battery when firing. Now, on the other hand, the Ruger Mini 30 has a short stroke gas piston and a rotating bolt. So you see with the first few millimeters of travel, the bolt rotates up to unlock. So in theory, rifles like the Ruger Mini series or the M14 that have the rotating bolt and short stroke gas piston will always be more reliable than well, really anything that is simply recoil operated blowback. Like I said, this has no locking lugs, for example, so I'll touch up on this a little bit later, but one of the problems I was getting a lot with the Chiappa M1-9 when I was shooting it, which you'll see later in the video, is that it would fire somewhat out of battery, and I'll demonstrate that in a bit with the snap caps over there. Alright, so I've loaded a mag up with the snap caps, the dummy rounds, so I'm going to try to replicate with you guys the loading out of, or going into, not fully into batteries, what I'm trying to say, that this rifle would commonly do. Now, this issue wouldn't really cause a malfunction. I didn't really have any failures to fire, but it'd be visible if you looked at it. What I really noticed was that it just increased the fouling. Like, you can't see it on this mag, but the other mags that I shot in this rifle, they're just caked in carbon and soot, along with this whole bolt carrier. Really, it's dirty. Like, it's quite dirty to shoot when it's out of battery. Let's try to replicate it, so or I'll end up getting another malfunction. But if I do this properly, all right, yeah, perfect. So you guys might be able to see that, but so as we can see here, the bolt and the bolt carrier itself, they aren't sealed up against the face of the chamber here. You can actually see the back of the snap cap protruding right here. So you might think that, oh, maybe the rifle's designed this way, maybe it's, you know, it's not a problem. It will still fire after all, as I'll demonstrate, but see, the firing pin still goes off and it'll still function fine, but like I said, it fouls up the action quite a bit in the magazines as well. But what's interesting is when I remove the magazine, it goes into battery. So yeah, it does have the tendency to not go fully into battery. I did also find out that, well, because of this, the rifle will shoot without a magazine in it. It's quite a good feature. Just be mindful of that. Always be safe with it, you know. With saying that, like I said, you know, it'll still fire even if it's kind of out of battery. I did find sometimes, and I'll attach a video of it happening, the rifle did the same thing, kind of out of battery. You can beat it forward. You can beat the bolt forward and it'll go into battery. Kind of like rifles that don't have a forward assist is what you'd kind of do. It's the same idea as a forward assist. So with that being said, we'll move on to the next, probably the most common malfunction I'd encounter. That would actually be a malfunction, a failure to feed that I've encountered with the Chiappa M1-9 while firing it. So let me take my magazine again. The Chiappa M1-9 does have a bolt hold open. It does not hold open on the last shot, but it is a manually operated bolt hold open if you want. I found this problem to be more problematic when you use the bolt hold open. So when I insert my magazines, and I just got a malfunction. Would you look at that? That is super weird. The bolt was held back. I simply tapped the magazine to put it in, and the bolt rode forward, so that was unexpected. So the malfunction that I was trying to recreate in that last clip, it's a failure to feed, and I'd encounter it most commonly when I'd be using the bolt hold open. I'd encounter it less frequently when the bolt would be closed, but regardless, it did still happen, and I'll attach a video in editing of this happening.
Okay. No.
So basically, with the Chiappa, when you're feeding it, you have to be very firm with the mags. Now the mags, they will seat, and they will not come out when you do that. So that light click that you heard, the mag won't come out now. And if you don't be forceful with the charging handle, what will happen, let's see if I can focus better here, what will happen is that will happen. So here, I'll just show it better, because I kind of held on to the charging handle that time. If I let go of it and go forward and just let it go, that can still happen. So as you can see, that is a textbook failure to feed. So like I said, that's probably the most common malfunction that you're going to encounter when using the Chiappa M1-9, especially if you're new to it. How you remediate, well not remediate, but just completely avoid that malfunction is when you take your magazine, make sure that the round is seated properly, you give the mag a couple good firm taps, and just let it ride home like that, no problem at all. We are fully in battery as well, so that's good. So probably the last notable malfunction that I experienced quite frequently with the Chiappa M1-9 was actually double feeding. Right there, right there. And double feeding would commonly occur when I'd be reloading the rifle. I never experienced it, if my memory serves me correct, while I was shooting the rifle. And I think the double feeding has something to do with when the rifle doesn't go fully into battery, the extractor doesn't properly grab onto the rim of the 9mm cartridge right there. And what happens is when the bolt comes back and it picks up the next round to go into the chamber, you know, it causes that stoppage, that failure to feed, a double feed. So let's try to replicate it right now. So the first round always usually goes in just fine, but then the second one, oh, that's working okay. And another malfunction here. So yeah, not what I was looking for, but this one is just, I don't even know, it's another failure to feed. The biggest problem with this pistol caliber carbine that we ran into when we were shooting it was for sure failure to feed, just like this would just happen now. So the best way I think I could replicate that happening is if I first purposely put it not in battery, so I'll chamber it around. Yep, so not fully in battery as you can see here. We'll pull out my magazine. Goes into battery, so this one might work actually. So I pull back my charging handle, that extracted. Try this one. There we go. That's what we were looking for. So there we go. Yeah. So the first two rounds extracted properly, but what happened with the last round, and I didn't experience this like I said when I was firing, but if I was reloading, for example, I had a round in the chamber and I'm doing a reload, I did experience this quite a bit. But as you can see there's already one round in the chamber, and the round that is being picked up by the bolt has caused the stoppage. So that is the double feed. In closing, the Chiappa M1-9 has not, and probably will not unless they redesign it, lived up to the reliability standards that you'd expect of an M1 carbine. Well, obviously because, well, it isn't an M1 carbine. It operates completely differently, as we already discussed. If you do own one or you're looking to pick one up and you want it to run successfully, my best recommendations for you is just be rough with it. So in short, my best recommendations for you, if you're going to get a Chiappa M1-9 or you already have one and you're looking to make it run reliably, just make sure, give your mags a very firm tap, make sure they're seated very good, and just let the bolt carrier ride itself. Once you get shooting, I had no problems. Once the gun was shooting, it ran just perfectly fine. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. So in short, if you want it to run good, make sure you just, oh my god, fuck.